Hi, everybody. This is Alan Fine, and I'm here with Emma Gordon, who's a marketing manager at Marketing Manchester. We've talked about Manchester here many times, but now we're going to find out what's coming up, and this is Insider Travel Report. Emma, thanks for talking to us.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about the fact that Manchester has come back from the pause with a vengeance, and it has a lot to offer. It's something that our travel advisors wanted to learn more about, because after London, what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're seeing a real good recovery following COVID. It's really exciting to be back doing international, being able to talk to people, talk to operators and agents about Manchester and why their clients should look at coming to Manchester. I think particularly, Manchester, like you say, there's a lot more than just London. Manchester's a great gateway, so to be able to look at Manchester as a gateway to the whole of the north of England, across to North Wales, it opens up a whole new region for clients to discover.
You yourself are a Manchestan.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you feel the enthusiasm, it's because she lives and breathes and works there.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally, I'm not from Manchester. I like to think I'm a Mancunian by choice rather than by
Mancunian.
birth. Mancunian. So that's what someone from Manchester is called. So yeah, by choice rather than by birth.
Which says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a real passion for the city. It's fantastic. It's constantly changing. So I've been with Marketing Manchester for a long time, but I think the fact that the city constantly changes, there's constantly new things to talk about, new things to see.
So you never get bored.
Exactly. Yeah, never get bored by it.
So let's talk about what's new.
Okay, yep, absolutely. We've got lots of new bookable product. I think in the past we've got some amazing free things that clients can do while they're there, which is fantastic. But we know also, obviously, with the trade, we know people are looking for bookable things to do as well. And I think that's something over the last few years we've really worked on developing. So we've got lots of new bookable tours and experiences that people can do.
Give us some.
Yeah, so we have Scranchester tours. So Scran is a Northern English word for food. So hence the play on words of Scranchester, Manchester.
Right.
So they offer two tours now. They are the Eat the City tour, and they have an Explore Ancoats tour. So Ancoats is one of the neighbourhoods of Manchester, so it was the world's first industrial suburb. It's been completely brought to life again. Lots of amazing food and drink, our Michelin-starred restaurant Manor, but lots of smaller little finds there as well. But you can do these two tours. They're both 3.5-hour tours, and they give people a chance to get sort of the food and drink heritage of the city. Lots of history about the city as you go around. So they're walking tours. You get to go around and you do little tastings at various spots along the way. Absolutely enough, great option as a lunch. Absolutely enough food, so guests are told to come hungry. Really great way to discover the city. I think also to get your bearings of the city as well. So yeah, really good.
Scranchester.
Scranchester, yeah. Another great thing that we have in the city, obviously we're a city, so it's an urban experience in the city. We know people are looking as well for outdoors things to do, sort of post-COVID.
Sure.
We have the new RHS Garden Bridgewater. So this opened just May last year. It's the first new garden for the RHS in 20 years. So it's fantastic that we have it on
the RHS is the Royal
Horticultural Society. Yeah. So first new garden for them, really exciting that it's on our doorstep. So huge space, it's 156 acres. So it's Europe's largest garden project. But it's really exciting for us. It's 25 minutes out the city centre. It's easy for individual clients to get out there. They have a shuttle service that goes out in the morning, back in the afternoon. So again, combo tickets can be bought for that. So really easy still to get to. And you can do guided tours there as well. So yeah, really interesting to have that then on our doorstep. And then again, some of our other tours that we have. So I love this one, Manchester Taxi Tours. So we have a gentleman called John Constantine who is our taxi tour guide. He has an electric black cab, so it's a big black cab. He runs bespoke tours for clients, so they can be 2, 3 or 4 hours depending what they're looking for. They can be general Manchester. If you've got clients that are interested in the football heritage, he can do them about football. If they're looking at the music heritage, so we've got an amazing music heritage in Manchester from all the way back to the Hollies and Herman's Hermits, right. Or whether it's Morrissey and the Smiths and New Order or Oasis, huge amounts of heritage there. And then he also has a new tour that he does, which is his afternoon tea taxi tour. So clients will do a 2-hour tour, and then the final hour is where they have an afternoon tea. So it's full china crockery, tablecloths, so they can either have that in the back of the cab, or he can set it up. If it's a beautiful day, you can go by a canal and he'll set it up with a blanket.
So John's a bit of a celebrity.
Yeah, he's a real character. I think what he doesn't know about Manchester probably isn't worth knowing. He's great. He's a great asset to the city, because he's
and again, all of these are commissional, what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
more.
Yeah, absolutely. We then have, again, sort of along the food and drink thing, there's a definite theme, I think, of some of our tours, that the food and drink, I think people love to experience that in a city. We have our craft beer tour. So, again, this has been developed over the last couple of years. So, as with a lot of cities, we find sort of microbreweries popping up all over the place. So in Manchester, around the Northern Quarter and Ancoats, 2 neighbourhoods next to each other, we've got a wealth of new microbreweries. Some of them really, really good beers. Some sort of voted in the top 5 beers in the world. So some really good beers. Mm-hmm. The craft beer tour is a 3-hour tour that then takes you around. You get to sample some of the beers at the breweries, some in some of the craft beer bars throughout the city. But again, it's also getting the history of the city as you go around as well. So some really good way to see the city in that way. And then we have some new tours that started last November. So you'll notice, I suppose, with a lot of these, that there's a lot of walking tours. Manchester's a real...
it's not that large, is it?
No, we're the second largest city in England. But actually, it's a really compact city centre, so it's a nice walking city. It's pretty flat, so again, for clients who don't necessarily want to do hills and things, it's a really nice walking city. So a great way to get your bearings and see. So hence, as a theme, we have a lot of walking tours to choose from. But we have some of our Blue Badge guides, 3 of our Blue Badge guides got together to develop a series of tours called the Walkabout Tours. So these are themed. They run weekly on a Saturday. They can be booked privately for clients. And these are, we have a Manchester music walkabout, a pub walkabout, and a ghost walkabout. So really good fun. The pub walkabout isn't just about having drinks. It's much more about, it's about the traditions of our British pub, why we say cheers, why we've got some unique and wonderful names for our pubs, and it has a short quiz in the end. So a great fun thing to do while we're in the city as well.
So can you combine those tours and have a drinking ghost music pub
all at the same time?
I'm just kidding. Let's move on.
And then probably one of my favourite tours is the Skyliner street art tour. So this is possibly not your traditional tourism lens. It looks at the city through how sort of street art can change a city, and how a city in that way can change the street art that's there as well. So again, the neighbourhood, the Northern Quarter, it's got a huge amount of street art, and this isn't just graffiti. It's looking at, we've got ceramics on the top of buildings. We've got hidden art that's in sort of built into the sides of walls and things I think tourists would miss if they weren't doing this tour.
So some of it's architecture, you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and I love that. So these are run by a lady called Hayley Flynn, and she gives back 10% of her profits then to local causes and community initiatives. So again, great way to then give back while clients are there as well. So yeah, really great tour to do.
That's great. So that's basically some of the new things.
Yeah, some of the newer things, and again, bookable. So yeah, great way to include in itineraries.
Let's also talk about the ability to get to Manchester.
We have non-stop from across the US and Canada. We have routes with Virgin Atlantic, so we've got routes from JFK, from Orlando and Atlanta. We have Aer Lingus started new transatlantic flights last December, so they also do New York and Orlando. And then we have Singapore Airlines. They do non-stop from Houston. So we're also working really closely with Manchester Airport to obviously look at trying to get new airlines to come in. So we're continuing to work on that. We know obviously it's a great asset to have non-stop, but I think it just means it's easy to come into the city. It's a great airport to fly into. It's really easy to navigate through. Clients can be through from landing into Manchester into their hotel within an hour and a half. So it's a nice arrival experience as well into the city.
Hotels, anything new?
Absolutely. A huge amount of new hotels. We've had new hotels open over the last year, so things haven't slowed with that. So some bigger brands like the Clayton and the Maldron hotels. We've got a lot of new hotels scheduled to open over the next 18 months. Some really exciting brands. We have Molly's Motel and Diner, which is part of the Soho House brand. We've got some bigger properties coming along as well. So, yeah, I think by 2024, it's upwards. We're getting close to sort of almost 4,000 new bedrooms in the city from sort of just before COVID. So, huge amount of new bed stock. I think with that, some great leisure rates. I think also something to note as well with Manchester is that our low season is probably the summer months, because we don't actually have any football business then. So obviously we have, we're a city that's synonymous with sport. We have Manchester United, Manchester City, and both of those play at home each weekend. So when the football season has finished, which is end of May through till middle of August, we have none of that business. We're also a conference city.
No, but then music takes over or food takes over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's lots of things still happening, but in terms of the hotels, you can get some great leisure rates.
There we go.
Because there isn't that football business there.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us about the factory.
Sure. So the factory, it's really exciting. So this is our new £186 million world-class arts and culture venue. It's opening next spring, so we're really excited to see that open. It will be the permanent home of Manchester International Festival. So this is our biennial festival. So it will be next July for 3 weeks. And this is, it's the world's first international festival of original new works. So everything for the festival is commissioned new for the festival, premieres in Manchester and then travels around the world. So it's a complete spectrum of performance arts, whether it's music or art installations, dance, theatre. So it's fantastic. That the factory will then become the permanent home of that. Plus, it will then obviously have touring productions of national and international artists that will visit there. So it's expected that we will sort of receive visitors to the factory of just short of 1 million. Every year. So yeah, really exciting.
Opening when?
City. It's opening. We don't have a definite date yet. It's spring next year. Right. So yeah, really exciting for us. It's great to have seen it being developed, and it's almost there now. Okay. So yeah.
Anything else new?
We have then our town hall. So this is still a short while off, but our town hall is our iconic town hall in Manchester. Beautiful architecture. It's been having works done on it for a good while now, so it's scheduled to reopen in 2024. So yes, it's still a little while off, but it will be fantastic to have it back. It's a beautiful example of sort of neo-Gothic architecture in the city, and you can go inside is stunning. You'll see all around the city, and you'd see it inside the town hall is the Manchester Bee. So this is the symbol of Manchester. So the Manchester Bee comes from basically of Manchester being the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. So it was the workers in the city, sort of were the worker bees, hence where the symbol became the Manchester Bee. So visitors to the city will see it all over the city.
So the worker bee, not the honeybee.
The worker bee.
So okay. Yeah, so
it was a hive of activity in Manchester. So it was it became the worker bees.
Okay. What travel advisors are probably overwhelmed at this point. There's so much and there's more. Yep. How can they get more information? Where should they go?
They can go to our website. So it's visitmanchester.com/travel trade. We also have an online educational program, which is our Manchester Master. So this is manchester-master.com. It's a great program for agents to work through. They technically then become our Manchester Masters around the US and Canada. And it's a module-based program, so they can work through it at their own pace. It's got information about Manchester, things to see and do. But then, as I mentioned before, it's also then got information about the north of England and North Wales. So agents can then see how easy it is that you could do an itinerary, sort of a 5, 6, 7 night itinerary around the whole of the region and make it, really easy to package up.
Okay, so and then once they complete the education, I'm sure they're able to do certain special things.
Yeah, I mean, we like to keep them updated with news and things. But yeah, they will be our Manchester Master. We'll keep them updated with news, with events that are happening in the city. And yeah, absolutely, they're our advocates then across the US.
Speaking of events, what's coming up?
With a huge amount. We always have lots of events in Manchester, so we have some key sort of pillar events. We've just had our Manchester Pride, which is a big event in the city. It's always the last weekend of August, so a big bank holiday weekend there. We have our Science Festival coming up. We have our Literature Festival. So Manchester is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Literature. So we have our Literature Festival. So yeah, we then go into 2023, and we have a big Chinese New Year celebrations across the city. So yeah, it's
Christmas.
Christmas, absolutely. Yeah, I've missed Christmas out. Christmas markets are huge in Manchester. So almost every street you turn, there's another Christmas market. So it's a really great time to be in the city. There's all the twinkling lights of the chalets around the city, all the stalls, lots of food and drink to experience. Magical time to be in the city.
So this is a catch-all. We're going to summarize now with, we got about 108,000 travel advisors. What do you want them to know about Manchester?
I think just that Manchester's a great gateway into the UK. I think for clients that have been to the UK before, are looking for something different, we know that, you know, your first timers to the UK are not necessarily going to come to Manchester. They're going to go to London. We know that. But actually, I think when you look at, you know, clients who've been 1, 2, 3 times before, Manchester's a great place to come. I think people either have the wrong perception of Manchester, of still being an industrial city. It's its heritage, and we embrace its heritage, but it's not what it is today. It's a great, vibrant city. It's got a huge amount of history and heritage there, but it's got lots to see and do, lots of amazing food and drink, lots of things to do, and as I say, a great gateway then to the whole of the north of England and Wales.
Would you also say that it's like the second largest city?
Yeah.
So at a certain point, it's like, let's go to Manchester and then, you know, let's visit London maybe for a day and flip it.
Absolutely. I think it's great to come into Manchester, experience Manchester in the region, and then absolutely travel down to London. It takes just over 2 hours, so it's 2 hours 5 minutes down to London, 3 trains an hour, really easy to get down there. So absolutely, yeah, tag on a day or two in London and then open door out of London. Yeah, absolutely.
It'll make you the base, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you for talking to me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.